For those that haven't, a little bit about us. Joss and Maine, we have a water store. We've been here for almost 3 years now. Gosh, time flies when you're having fun. We are a specialty retail business under the Wayfair family of brands. And so we have a beautiful curated selection of merchandise for our customers to come in and shop our beautiful store. For those that aren't aware, on your seats you have a fabulous coupon to use. It's an additional 15% off from today for the next 30 days. So holidays are around the corner. I'm sure everyone wants to get their houses ready for Thanksgiving, the holidays, and all of the things, and maybe buy yourself something special as well. I'd love to introduce you now to one of our designers, Radek, to talk a little bit about what he does for us at the store.
Thank you, Karen. Good evening, everyone. My name is Radek. I'm the designer here. Thank you so much for coming over. We really appreciate you here. Everyone looks so festive here today, and you match the decor of our beautiful store as well, so thank you. I'm the designer here, and I'm leading the design team. You can usually find us over there in the design studio. What we do is we offer free design services for everyone who's interested in doing a small or a large project. Nothing is too small for us, and nothing is too big. We're happy to advise, help with any kind of selection. We really like chatting with people, and we really like sticking to budgets, and we do our best to make sure everyone is satisfied. Once again, Karen mentioned the little flyer here. This is our thank you for coming over tonight to this beautiful event. This extends for another 30 days. Please take advantage of that. You see lots of beautiful product in our store, and I'm sure you'll find something really, really special. But without further ado, thank you so much for visiting us.
I want to thank Joss and Maine again, and that 15% off runs. I want to thank Joss and Maine again, and that 15% off runs for 30 days, which is great, so take advantage. I want to thank Dagher Wealth Management, Dental Partners of Boston. Obviously, you guys were drinking the fabulous 90+ Cellars wine. I think we ran out at one point. So this is a big drinking crowd, which is great. And I love that you're drinking 90+ Cellars, but I would love to introduce to you Elin Hilderbrand, who I know you guys already probably met. So without further ado, let's have our little discussion. Yeah. Do you want to sit here, or do you want to sit, where do you want to go? Okay.
Is it on? I feel like mine's not on.
Tony, Ellen's mic is not on. Let me see. Testing. Hello? Testing? Yep, there we go. Okay. Perfect.
Okay, hi.
Yay. Hi. Yay. We were just in Tampa together a couple weeks ago.
We were.
For the Academy.
Was anybody here in Tampa? This person? How's that a thing? Okay.
Yeah. She travels with
Nice.
Lisa's book club. So Ellen and I mean, we've done this like a couple of times now.
This is time number 4.
I know.
Right?
Yeah. This is so much fun because she's so much fun. I mean, that's why we're all here, because we love your books. But we're here for the Academy. We're off Nantucket. We're officially off the island. But I want to ask you, because you wrote it with your daughter Shelby, how did the idea come about, and then how is it working with your daughter, and how did you guys divide up the work?
So Shelby attended St. George's School in Middletown, Rhode Island. And I always like to start these things by asking, does anyone here work at St. George's?
I know.
Did anybody go to St. George's? Okay. Really? You're telling me the truth. Okay. So Shelby went to St. George's, and she started in the fall of 2021 as a sophomore. She got in as a freshman, but it was 2020, and she decided to stay home. So she started as a sophomore in 2021, and as soon as she got there, it was just a whole other world, and she started calling multiple times a day. She was very happy and excited, but the story is, I mean, they started Are we being broadcast?
We
on
are. We're
anything?
live.
Okay.
We're live on
Okay.
Facebook.
So I'm going to be very careful what I say. But the stories were crazy. And at some point in the middle of her sophomore spring, I said, she was telling me a particularly scandalous story. And I said, we are writing a novel. And she very famously said, don't tempt me with a good time. So I was like, okay. So she said yes. And then we just, as she moved through boarding school, we just were keeping notes, and we called it Straight to the Pages and STP, and everything that happened, we were just writing down. And then when we went to write it, we created the characters together and discussed their arcs.
Okay.
Pause here to let you know, because some of you have already read the book, yes, there's obviously a book 2.
Yeah.
The kids are juniors.
Yeah.
There's an arc that continue, like a pretty big arc that continues to the end of book 2. Online, I've seen a lot of people like, this is nonsense. Like, they don't use the word nonsense. And this is nonsense. I can't believe we didn't find out what's in the attachment of Cinnamon's email. And it's because, and I'm online nonstop saying, they're juniors. They're waiting for graduation. It's next year. There's going to be a book 2. And they're like, oh, I would never leave you guys hanging like that.
Right.
I would just never do it. You know me too well. So there will be a book 2 next year called The Thoroughbreds. But
Have you already written it?
we just turned it in. We turned
Okay.
it in. What day is today? Tuesday. We turned it in last Wednesday.
Okay, so that's amazing. You guys are like machines. So after you finished the first book, so did you know how the book would end before you started it?
The certain things that we knew. So when we were doing the arcs, we're like, okay, certain arcs are going to close at the end of book 1.
Okay.
Certain arcs are going to go into the book 2, and then book 2 has its own arcs that start in book 2 and end in book 2, and then of course the ones that started in book 1 will end in book 2. So, and I can't really say anything more about that, but yes.
Okay.
So we had the ideas. Of course, in the scene-to-scene writing, you never know what's going to happen, right? So that was all like very spontaneous, and Shelby has been totally instrumental in just giving me the kids' perspectives and writing from the kids' point of view, and then I would edit her so that it sounded like me, because I didn't want it to be jarring between her scenes and my scenes. So she would give me the scene, and I would edit it to make it sound like me, and then she would edit my scenes so that they sounded like Gen Z, which was so... I mean, her notes are hilarious. She's like, cringe, 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 cringe. No one my age would ever say this. Take this whole paragraph out. And then she's like, I can't read another page. She was just so horrified.
That should be a book. Like,
It
I
was
would buy
funny.
that, right?
It was funny.
The notes?
It was funny. It was very funny. And it really, I had forgotten about it from last year, but now that we just turned it in and we just did the final edits before we turned it in, and just her insults, like, she's like, Mom, I'm like, I know, I'm sorry, I'm embarrassed, but I can't think like a 17, 18, 19-year-old
No, none of us can, really.
anymore. I'm
It's a-
stuck in the 80s.
Yeah, me too.
Just like the rest of us here.
So you mentioned one particular story that had happened, I guess, at this school. So were you concerned when you were crafting this novel that it was going to, how do you get close to the line without people saying, oh?
I don't care if they say, oh.
Okay.
And
That's
neither
good.
does Shelby. I mean, we didn't use any real people, with the possible exception of like one person who could, if you were in the know, you would be like, oh, that's that person. But we have a grudge against that person, so we don't care.
All
and then
right.
Shelby said,
I want to figure out who it is.
Shelby said, do you think that person is going to sue us? And I'm like, I would welcome that person suing us, because that would bring such great publicity that you can't buy.
It's so true.
The person, I don't think, has read the book, and the person did not sue us yet. But we were, other than that, we were very careful not to use any real people. Real people don't really fit in fiction, but we took details, like obviously of St. George's, the school itself, like the way the school day is run, the way the year is run, certain traditions that they have, we use, things like that.
Yeah. The one thing I couldn't believe was the fact that the element of food. I know in all of your Nantucket novels there was a big emphasis on food. And then this continues in this book in a big way.
Yeah.
I like get ready because you're gonna like want to snack through the whole thing because the menu.
Yeah.
That was
So I'll tell you what, the food at St. George's was terrible. And so, and I knew this because I followed the food service on the Instagram, right? So I could see what Shelby was having every single day for dinner. And I'm like, oh no, this will not do.
No.
This is an Elin Hilderbrand novel. We are going to bring in a chef from New York who is basically there doing penance because he's a compulsive gambler and got into a bunch of trouble and got sent. He was working at a private club in New York City and got sent to the boonies as a punishment because he used club funds, embezzled them to pay his gambling debts. And so now here he is cooking for these kids, right? So
banished.
the food is so good. And that was my way of solving the problem because we were not using the true
No, I just
story.
kept writing in the notes when I was reading the book. I was annotating. I'm like, the menu, the menu, the menu. Like, oh my God, it was incredible. So can we talk about the cover art of the book that you guys have? Did you orchestrate this? Like, how involved were you? Because it looks exactly like Shelby, your daughter.
It does look like Shelby. It's not Shelby. I thought that they used Harvard, but because we were going to use Harvard. And then Harvard said, is Harvard mentioned in the book? And I said, yes, in passing. But that was too much for them. So then they said no. And so I don't know where this is. I think it might be Andover. If someone knows, please tell me. It is a real either boarding school or college, but
And did they show you that
Harvard.
before? Like, how involved were you with, like, yeah, that looks great?
We went
or-
through a bunch of different choices.
Okay.
And this is where we landed. And I love this cover.
It's perfect.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something cute, and this is like a marketing inside thing. So the paperback of this novel is coming out in April, and the trees are going to be flowering trees.
I love
Because
that.
that's where we are now, people. We are like custom designing for the season. And then, so for spring and summer, it'll have flowering trees in front of the building, and then in the fall, they will go back to putting the paperback with fall trees. I mean,
Wow,
that's where we
that's
are.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You told an interesting story about one of your books. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe it was Hotel Nantucket or 5-Star Weekend. That Walmart actually helped decide what the cover would look like.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
That's
to me.
true of every one of my books, and I don't know if this is true for other authors, but it was certainly true for me, would go by Target, Walmart, Costco, and they would weigh in on Barnes & Noble, and they would weigh in on the covers, and I believe it was my novel, The Island, had a cover, and Walmart didn't like it, and they went back to the drawing board and did a whole new cover based on that input.
Fascinating.
Yeah, the big box influencers are very influential.
It's funny.
Retailers.
Yeah, which makes sense. So I know that the Academy, the last time we spoke in Tampa, you were putting out there that a streaming service was interested in purchasing the Academy. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What streaming service?
No, I mean, no, I can't. I did last night in Plymouth because we were not being broadcast on Facebook, but I can't.
Tony,
do
turn it off. And then we'll come back on again.
It's a major streamer, so you guys can probably guess.
Okay.
It's a major streamer that's done another one of my books. So I mean,
right, there we
you
go.
guys can probably guess.
Thank you.
But it was very exciting because when we sent it out, which as soon as we finished it, it was right after The Perfect Couple had dropped the show, and so all of Hollywood was trying to get their hands on this book, and it went into a fairly competitive bidding war between the other major streamer and major retailer. Do you know what I'm? Okay, there's like a streamer that's also a retailer, and that person and this other streamer were
They're
bidding
battling
against
it out.
Yeah, and it ended up going to the major streamer that does not have a retail arm, if that makes sense. And yeah, and we'll see.
Were
know.
you involved in all of that negotiation, or is that the publisher? Like, how
Oh
does that
gosh,
happen?
I have an agent. No.
Okay, okay,
I
so
mean,
that-
Shelby
okay.
and I took about 10 meetings. Like we met with Hello Sunshine, and we met with just a bunch of. I mean,
Do
everybody.
they like fly you out? Like, what are the
Nope,
meetings?
We did them all on Zoom.
Really?
Yep, we did them all on Zoom.
They didn't like wine and dine you?
No, and That
That's
was
just not-
fine
yeah.
because I was not going anywhere.
Okay.
So it was better. Like we
Okay.
took several meetings
Yeah.
a day. It was all Zoom, and everybody was really enthusiastic. But I have agents
Okay.
that deal with it. They happened to have been in London the week that all this was happening, and so for them, I think it was pretty exhausting because they were in London. LA is 9 hours. It was
Wow.
for them. They were up all night, like taking calls and doing the wheeling and
So
dealing.
now that you know who it is,
Yeah.
What's the timeline for casting and when
Yeah,
can we
so
expect this? When can we see
The
this?
show, I can't even say who the showrunner is. We have a showrunner who's done another very popular show. You guys would probably all know the show, and he is finishing. I'm trying to think where he is in this. He's finishing the pilot. So he hands in the pilot. And there's like a million steps between them buying it and then it getting to the screen. But I would be surprised if as long as it gets greenlit with this showrunner, I would be surprised if they don't start filming next fall. That would be my guess.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
So we'll see.
It takes a very long time to get a show up and running. Let's just segue quickly because this is exciting to talk about. My novel, The 5-Star Weekend, went through, it was the fastest, it was so fast because that book came out in 2023. They filmed it this past September on Nantucket. It was Jennifer Garner, Chloe Sevigny, Gemma Chan, Regina Hall, Darcy Carden, Timothy Oliphant, Judy Greer. I mean, the cast is insane. They all came to Nantucket for the month of September. They filmed all over the island. Jennifer Garner was such a superstar. She went to dinner at all the restaurants. She went up to Nantucket Looms and did her weaving. She learned how to use the loom. She weaved a blanket. And she went out on the Endeavor, which is a sailboat, and she hoisted the sails. She went to the Nantucket Whaling Museum 3 times and listened to 3 history lectures.
Wow.
And they gave her sticker for her phone case every time she went to the lecture, and she showed them to me. She's like, look, I went to 3 lectures.
Didn't she like look at houses in Nantucket too?
I mean, I don't know, but she loved it. She kept
Yeah.
saying, I'm in heaven, Ellen, I'm in heaven, I'm in heaven, we're all in heaven. There were 275 people on the cast and crew, so they all were on Nantucket for September, and it was overall just an amazing success. The selectmen barely passed it. I mean, it was down to 1 vote of even letting them come. Thank God they said yes, and I think now that they said yes, they're very glad they did, because
Yeah.
it was an enormous amount of money
Yeah.
poured into the Nantucket economy up front, and then the show's going to come out in late May, early June, and then they have the entire summer for people to be like,
Right.
oh, I want to go.
Totally. Does that make you feel just that much better about everything you've been able to do for Nantucket and for small businesses and the economy year after year after year?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, I still, like, there's certain restaurants I can't get into. Truly, like, I'll call, they'll just be like, no. Sorry.
That's crazy to me.
I
Like,
know.
You're Miss Nantucket.
I know. Nobody
Wow.
cares. Nobody
Okay.
cares.
All right.
Absolutely nobody cares.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
you
We
guys
do.
care.
Yeah. All right. So another question I want to ask you after The Perfect Couple, because that was really your first big hit, right? And it's on Netflix, and that expanded your audience base so much. People that maybe had never read an Elin Hilderbrand book. So how was that? Like, what was that experience like?
I think it was really exciting. The one thing that I do want to address is that I did have a lot of people who had already read The Perfect Couple. Those were really the people I had to reckon with, because
Right.
they were like, it wasn't as good as the book.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's not meant to be the book. Netflix wanted a 6-episode murder mystery. That is what they wanted. That is what they got. So all of the love stuff, the love affairs, which we go into very deeply in the book, they were not dealt with. And the showrunner was a little frustrated because she wanted to have more stuff about the love relationships in the show, but it's like chop, chop, chop. Like we want to focus on basically the police procedural and things like that. So
And you were okay with that?
I am okay with that,
Yeah.
because I believe in adaptation, and you can read the book. The book hasn't changed. The book is
Right.
the same. You can read it. And it's interesting, I think, to look at how the book differs
Right.
from the show, but the show is wildly entertaining.
It was fabulous. I thought they did a great job. And I read the book, and I know what people were saying, like they cut out, a lot of family stuff.
Yeah.
But the show wouldn't have been as good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it needed to move along. It was so
Right.
bingeable. I couldn't even remember. I'm like, who did it? Like,
Yeah. Right.
I got to episode 4. I was on a plane flying back from LA because I didn't watch any of it ahead of time. I saw it for the first time at the premiere in Los Angeles in the auditorium with Nicole Kidman, with Liev Schreiber. Like, we're all sitting there, and I'm like, I had not seen one frame of it. And I watched the first episode, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to go home and watch episode 2. And so
Yeah.
I watched 2, 3, and 4 on the plane on the way back to New York because I was going on with Gayle King. And I remember landing at JFK, and I had just finished episode 4, and I'm like, what? I have got to go to
know.
bed because I was getting up to be with Gayle.
It was so suspenseful.
And I'm like,
Yep.
I can't.
They nailed it.
Ah.
It was good. So what's your involvement with the Academy as far as like show running, script? Will you have a cameo in this?
I won't. They offered me a cameo in the 5-Star Weekend, and I said no. And this is why.
Yeah, why?
When you're an extra in shows like that, you are standing around for 7, 8, 9 hours. And I just did not have the time. And I was like, it's not
Yeah.
important. It was not going to fill my cup to the degree that it would have. So I was like, you know what? It's good enough for me that they're making the show. They're doing it on Nantucket. There were a lot of Nantucket locals that were served as extras, and a lot of them I knew, and that made me so happy. I did not need to be in it. I will also probably not be in the Academy. Shelby and I are serving as executive producers, and honestly, I don't feel the same protectiveness about this world. Shelby might,
Okay.
right, as executive producer. She might be like, no, that's not how we're going to do it. We're going to do it this way. I didn't go to boarding school. I went to public school. I know nothing about the world. So I am going to defer to her as far as, you
Yep.
know. But like the Nantucket stuff, I was very protective about how it was done because I wanted it to be authentic. The St. John series is in development with, again, another streamer. One that maybe your phone comes from.
Ah.
They also have a phone company.
Oh.
And it's in development with them, and I feel very protective about St. John because I spend a lot of time there and I know a lot of people there, and so I want to
Okay.
make sure that St. John is done correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you went to public school, and this conversation came up when we were in Tampa. And there was a woman who asked a question about who was your mentor growing up? Because I know you like to write, and you were always writing stories. But you told a really nice story about someone that was special in your life, a teacher. Can you share that?
So when I was in 2nd grade, because a lot of times people will say, when did you know you wanted to be a writer? And the answer is I knew in 2nd grade. When I was in 2nd grade, at the end of the school year, my teacher gave out awards to every kid in the class. And my award, you guys, was the top author award. And I can vividly remember the second they said top author award to Elin Hilderbrand. And I'm like, yes, that is my award. I am an author. I
Yeah.
am an author. I'm 7. I'm
See?
7 years old. And I go
It's
up.
manifesting.
I remember going up and getting, like, it was a little cardboard paper thing, cardboard circle with a little ribbon. I get it, and I would have been very angry if somebody else had gotten it. And then my teacher, Mrs. Buckwalder, you know, years and years and decades later, came to my signing when I signed in my hometown, and she sat in the front, and I was able to say to her, you know, maybe I showed extraordinary talent at age 7, but more likely I was enthusiastic about making up stories and writing them down, and you encouraged me, and you called me an author, and
Yeah.
you sent me on my way. So if we have any teachers in the audience,
Yeah.
do we have any teachers? Yeah, that is the power of education right there, is believing in your kids and noticing their talents and encouraging them
And
and
telling
supporting
them.
them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so I want to bounce back a little bit to The Perfect Couple Part 2. And that's based on Swan Song. And how are they doing this?
So, The Perfect Couple has really had a trajectory. But season 2 was with a showrunner. I mean, you guys are getting a real lesson in Hollywood here. It is so complicated. Season 2 had a showrunner who was the showrunner for The Bear. Anybody see The Bear on Hulu? Okay. So the showrunner of The Bear came and took over she was not the original showrunner. The original showrunner did not want to do season 2. because of the director. I can't believe I'm saying this on Facebook. Okay. So we got a new showrunner. That showrunner then left. So now we have a third showrunner. And when I was in Tampa in the hotel before our event, I talked to him on the phone and he pitched me his idea for season 2. And this is why his idea is so good and so juicy. This is why it's complicated though. They're basically taking characters and plot from Swan Song and plugging it into an existing show. And it's very complicated, but the way he pitched it to me, I'm like, that is going to be even better than season 1. I mean, it is so full of like scandal and drama, but it, Greer is still in it, Tag's still in it, like the people from the first Perfect Couple are still in it, and it's just that this couple moves in next door.
Oh.
And it's the Richardsons from Swan Song that move in next door. And then Nicole and Leah, Tag and Greer end up having an extremely complex relationship with this other couple.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It sounds delightful.
It's going to be crazy.
Do you have a favorite character?
I think my favorite character out of all my books is Margaret Quinn from the Winter Street series. Has anybody read the Winter Street series? Okay. For those of you who haven't read the Winter Street series, Jillian from Bookends does have copies of Winter Street over on the table. It's a holiday series, and it's 4 books long. She has book 1, which is, I would not let you start with any book other than book 1. And Margaret Quinn is a working mom. She's the anchor of CBS Evening News, and her husband, they get divorced, and her husband takes the kids up to Nantucket and remarries, and it's then years and years later, and it's Christmas time. And at the time, I had just gotten divorced, and I was away from my kids on this one particular Christmas of 13. And it was the first time I'd been away from them on Christmas, and I was feeling like extremely bereft. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to start writing this Christmas novel, and I'm going to have the single mom be the hero. And so Margaret Quinn has always been like the woman I aspire to be. And so I think and then I had to get to do 4 books with her. So I think she was my favorite.
Oh, I love that. What was my next question? I have so many questions for you. Do you guys have any questions? While I think
we should take questions from the audience. So many people have questions.
We have so many people here. Right here.
So the question is Shelby based on one of the characters? The answer is no, but what Shelby and I realized as we were writing it is that I am a Charlie and Shelby is a Davi. Shelby, Shelby is very curated in her appearance. She has the makeup, she's the get ready with me routine and the hair and the outfits, and she's got her finger on the pulse of the culture. I am a bookworm and a nerd, and especially in high school. I had glasses, I had braces, I was always reading, I played the clarinet in the marching band. I mean, they did not come any nerdier than me. I was the ultimate. And so we laugh and we're like, Shelby's Davi and I'm Charlie.
So you mentioned, the kids. Were your boys kind of like a little jealous that Shelby's getting like all this attention and all the and the deal? Like, this is so cool for her.
Yeah, they were very jealous.
And did she always want to write and follow in your footsteps?
I don't know. She was definitely more inclined to do it than the boys were. My middle son Dawson went to boarding school, and he was the one that was most bent out of shape. Because he was like, I could have written this with you. I went to boarding school. He went to Brewster Academy, if anybody knows where that is, up in Wolfboro. And his boarding school experience was, it was just not as, it was way more egalitarian up at Brewster than it was at St. George's, which is very elitist. And, because your son goes to Milton, you know how it is, right? It's like a very fancy, St. George's was very fancy. Brewster is really a great, warm community. It lacks the things. Also, Dawson's a boy and never told me a single thing.
Yeah.
about boarding school.
They don't gossip, the boys.
He did not gossip. He
Yeah.
did not tell me anything. He did not probably, he may have known what was going on. He never told me any stories. How's school, honey? Fine. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And that was why we
Yeah.
did not write a novel, Dawson, if you're
I know.
wondering.
Yeah, Shelby was bringing the juice. Come
Totally.
on. Yeah. Lynn.
Okay, so first of all, not everybody has read this, but no. 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 If it did happen, I certainly wouldn't have known about it. Nobody would have known
Oh,
about
no,
it.
yeah.
No.
No, no, no. Right.
So the interesting thing about casting the kids is that anybody that we would cast as the kids right now is already too old.
Right.
And so the kids will be people that probably are still in middle school or in high school, like early high school right now, right? Because we're talking about something that's probably going to film
Right.
like next year, whatever. So it's
I
not.
still think Zendaya would be a good choice.
She
Because
would
she
be-
can read young.
She would be good as Simone. She would be perfect as Simone.
As Simone. Yep.
Simone is the young teacher. She would be
Yep.
perfect as Simone. But the kids, I can't even, like I could say, oh, Jacob Elordi would be East. Yeah,
Yeah.
6-7 years ago he would have been.
Right.
But now he's too old. One fun story, which I don't think I've told before, is that, maybe I have told this. Does anybody know who Max Greenfield is? The actor, he was Schmidt on New Girl. Have I told you the story?
No, you haven't told the story, but I know.
I was his English teacher when he was in
Really?
8th grade outside of New York City. I lived in New York City and I
Ah.
commuted backwards. He was my student. He was such a nightmare. Of every, literally, I had 83 kids in the class. I was an English teacher at Dobbs Ferry Middle School. I had 83 kids in the 4 classes. And Max Greenfield was the one that I would go home and call his parents and be like, he won't sit still. He's always like in the back of the room, jumping around, making faces, not on task. And my then boyfriend, who's then became my husband, is now my ex-husband, but he was like, Ellen, you don't call his parents. That was me. Like, don't call his parents. Don't come back. And I always called his parents. And then years and years later, Chip and I were flying somewhere on JetBlue, and the TV was in front of us, and we saw Max. I go, that's Max Greenfield. Oh my God. And so we're in touch now.
Oh.
And I said to him, how funny would it be if you played the English teacher in the academy?
Right.
It would be so funny.
Is he
He's
into
the
it?
perfect age for it,
Yeah.
too. I don't know. I'm going to ask them to cast him. We'll see.
Oh, he'd be perfect.
He does that show. He's on that show. What's the show about the basketball? The basketball show on Netflix with Kate Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
What's the name of that show?
Yeah, that was
Running
a great
Point.
show.
He's on Running Point.
Point.
He plays Kate Hudson's
Yeah,
fiance.
he'd be perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so after the Academy 2 comes out, and
Yeah.
you keep saying you're not going back to Nantucket, what is next for Elin Hilderbrand?
So that's a really good question. I don't have an answer. I'm going to write something. And I've started thinking about it because Shelby and I will go into revisions on the Thoroughbreds in the next week or two, and then turn it in by Thanksgiving or the 1st of December, and then I have nothing to do. So I've started to think, like, what do I want to write next? And I don't know. And that's all I can say, is
Okay.
I'm going to write something. It probably will not be set on Nantucket. I want to try and do something different. But what I realized in writing the Academy is I only write one way, right? And so for those of you who've read the Academy, tell me if you think I'm wrong. It feels like an Elin Hilderbrand book.
It
It's
is.
just not set at the same place. So I only write, and then when I started doing that, I'm like, I only write one way. Okay, I only write one way. So my guess is that whatever comes next, you will probably, hopefully enjoy.
Right, you're on your journey.
I'm on my journey.
Do you want to talk about the podcast a little bit?
Sure.
What's going on with that?
So my podcast is called Book, Speech, and Beyond, and I My co-host is Tim Ehrenberg of Tim Talks Books. If you guys haven't listened to my podcast, but you like to read, I'm going to pitch it to you now. This is why you should listen to my podcast. We interview the authors that you have already read. Okay, here is a partial list of we've done 3 seasons. This is a partial list of who we have interviewed. Taylor Jenkins Reid, Kristen Hanna, Jodi Picoult, Jennifer Weiner, Emily Henry, Leanne Moriarty, John Grisham, who else? Ina Gerton, Ann Patchett, Barbara Kingsolver. We have Nicole Kidman. We had Sarah Jessica Parker. We had Sunny Hostin, Jake Tapper. Who else? We're interviewing Dan Brown next week.
I saw Tim was with Dan Brown.
Yeah, we're
That's
interviewing Tim
huge.
Brown next week.
Wow.
So you don't have to read a book. You've already read Kevin Kwan. You've already read the books, okay? And that was what I wanted. I wanted a podcast where Colleen Hoover, like we've interviewed everybody. I wanted a podcast where we're like, oh, I'd listen to this, but I don't want to have to read something for it in order to enjoy it. And my podcast is purely people that you already know who they are.
Yeah, really fun. You have to listen to it.
It's fun.
It's
fun.
and Tim's amazing. He's
amazing.
He's been on the morning show. I just love him, and he
Yeah.
loves to read. Like
He
can just
loves
like
to
that's his
read.
whole essence. And
Yes.
yeah,
Correct.
Very, very fun. Do you guys we have a couple of minutes for some questions, some last minute questions. Anyone have anything?
If I could pick a book to be made into the series next, I would like to see The Blue Bistro made. Nobody has optioned it, so if anybody here has like an auntie or an uncle in Hollywood and they want to give a shout,
She's available.
The Blue
right?
Bistro
Yeah.
is available. I have 7 projects in development. So the Swan Song's in development, Paradise is in development, Winter Street is in development, Academy is in development, Hotel Nantucket's in development, 28 Summers is in development, and Nantucket Nights is in development. So I have 7 things in development. Now development can also go upside down because The Identicals was in development, that went upside down, and I've had things, the Golden Girl was in development, that went upside down. Like things that just don't ever, 90% of the stuff in Hollywood never gets made. So, but hopefully they're all with really good people now, and once you have success, like I did with The Perfect Couple, it's a little bit easier. And you guys, the 5-star weekend is going to be amazing. It's going to be on Peacock. It's 8 episodes. It'll be out this late spring. You're going to love it.
Love it. I think we had a question right there.
Yeah. It has directed her college career because we started writing it while she was still at St. George's as a senior, and she applied to the University of Miami. She's in Coral Gables. And she applied as a creative writing major. And now she's there, and she's taking poetry, and she's taking film, and she's taking like an actual creative writing class. And she sent me a story that she wrote. I was on tour, so it must have been a couple weeks ago. And she sent me a story, and it was better than anything I've ever written. And I was like, this is amazing. And the good thing about creative writing is you can't really chat GBT it. It has to be,
Flows from you.
it has to be
Yep.
real. And she did such a great job. I think she's going to have an amazing career. I really do.
Oh, that's great. It's really great. Yay. Anyone else any other questions? No? Oh, right.
Oh.
Yep.
That's a great question. So the question is, do I have a say in who narrates my books for audio? Question, how many of you listened to the audio? Okay, a bunch of you. So I always use Erin Bennett, okay? And this is a case of if it's not broke, don't fix it. Erin Bennett also is one of the premier audiobook narrators. She is an actress, that's what she is. She's formerly of Broadway. Like, she is so amazing, and everybody loves her. So I would never change. So she's definitely going to do the Thoroughbreds. And then anything else that I do in the future, I would ask for her first. Okay, yeah. Because you feel, okay, that's such an interesting point. So it feels like my book because you hear her voice. Okay. That's a very cool comment.
Yeah, that is thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Any more? Yep.
My favorite place to go on vacation. Well, I mean, it really depends. So obviously I go to St. John every year. So that's more like a second home. I'm going next week to Punta Mita in Mexico by myself.
Nice.
For 6 days. Why am I doing that? Because I am so tired. I mean, we went straight from like crazy Nantucket summer where I was out, 6-7 nights a week, to tour, which
Right.
Lisa experienced with me. It's bananas.
It's bananas.
It was
totally.
13 events in 13 days, all across the country. Got home. Was the last week of filming for the 5-star weekend. I mean, I literally was on set. Jennifer Garner's like, come have drinks with me, Ellen. I'm like, okay, this is normal. This is fine. This is totally casual. All the 5-star weekend. And then I just bought an apartment in Beacon Hill and I've been moving and it's been crazy. And I'm like, then I have events this entire week. So I have 6 events in 6 days this week. And I need time away to do nothing. I will have the revisions from my editor, so I'll have work to do, and I'm just gonna
You need a
chill.
reset.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah. Oh, now everybody has questions.
All right, Patty. Right. I know.
No, they let me in.
Yeah, just, I don't either.
They let me in. Part of it is me. I don't call and I'm like, I need a table at 7 o'clock. Like, I just don't pull that card. I don't do it. I don't do it. There's
like
one
that.
restaurant in particular called Nautilus, and it's got a historically Byzantine, it's 30 days in advance, or you have to wait in line, and I'm not waiting
It's just
in
not,
line.
yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
And I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing this, and I know the owners, and I could text them and be like, can I get a table? And I just don't choose to. I don't play the game. So, well, thank you. I'm coming to your restaurant.
Can you recommend a book that we should all be reading, something that you're reading right now?
Yes.
Or have recently?
So I'm going to give you a couple books that I've read this year that I absolutely loved. One is Tilt by Emma Pattee, Pattee. Is it? Okay, funny. She wrote a novel called Tilt. It's a short novel. It's about a pregnant woman. The first line, did I say this in Tampa too? Probably. The first line is, and so here we are, 37 weeks pregnant in IKEA. So it's about a woman who's 37 weeks pregnant in IKEA. There's an earthquake, and she's got to get home. That is the plot of the novel. But it goes back in time, telling
great.
her story, and then the forward motion of trying to get her back to her house during this massive earthquake in Oregon. I mean, it is completely fabulous. And then I'm trying to think what else I've really, really loved this year. So many things. I read ahead. By which I mean I get books called ARCs, Advanced Reader Copies, galleys. And so I just finished the greatest book yesterday called So Old, So Young by Grant Ginder. He wrote The People We Hate at the Wedding, if anybody read that. It doesn't come out until February. So I feel bad recommending it because it's like,
Yeah, but it's good. I'll
loved
try and
it.
get him for Lisa's book club, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
next year.
He's so great.
Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions? One more. Sarah from Maine. This is
Sarah.
it.
Hi, Sarah.
Yeah.
Loved it, and especially I just started a new job where I work with college students, and so you had the whole thing about Yik Yak, and then the other day, I'm working on fundraising, they're like, oh, we should focus on Yik Yak, and I'm like, I know what that is. So what would you say was the most interesting or kind of fun thing that you learned about Gen Z and or boarding school culture, just from working with your daughter and diving into that world? And it doesn't have to be a juicy story.
Right.
About the culture.
I mean, I think the most fun thing to talk about is the level. It's also alarming, the level of privilege of these kids. So at St. George's, I mean, the tuition's already expensive, but then they all go to Palm Beach at Christmas. So there I am, Christmas of 23, sitting at the freaking breakers with Shelby. She had her own room at the Breakers while, you know, and then the kids, like a lot of the kids' parents live there and they go to all the the parents had cocktail parties every night and I'm going to these cocktail parties and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then they all go to Harbor Island for spring break. And so in 24, of course, here I am on Harbor Island and with all the other parents, and the parents throw cocktail parties every night that we're in Harbor Island with color themes. So of course I'm loving this. I'm like, yeah. Because like there's the white night, the blue night, the pink night, the pop of color night, and the parents are hosting but it is, so it's so much fun. And the Harbor Island scene will be, in book 2 we have a whole chapter dedicated to them going to Harbor Island. But I think it's like that level of privilege, just even witnessing it from the outside, which I definitely was. I'm like, this is crazy. And it's fun to read about.
God, my kids go to Milton and we don't have color nights on Harbor
I know.
Island. They
Come
need to
on.
step up their game.
I know.
Wow. Yeah, the privilege thing is really,
Yeah.
it's
It's
amazing.
bananas.
Yeah.
It's bananas.
That's a good question. Really good question. All right, I think we're going to do one more. We'll take one more. Yep.
When did I know or when will I know? I mean, the great thing, honestly, and I say this in all sincerity, it was such a long time between starting. So, for example, I did not hit number 1 on the bestseller list until my 23rd book.
Wow.
Okay, so think about that. Now, the good thing is my trajectory was very much like this, right? Every book did a little bit better than the last. I've done a million events, right? I do 40 events a year. At every event, I'm sitting with people like this, and then you guys are putting it on Facebook, right? And you guys are putting it on Instagram, and then those people are seeing it, and then they're like, oh, and then when they see it at the bookstore, they're like, oh, I want to read this. And that is how I grew my readership. But it was very much like this. And so when I finally got to number 1, it felt like something I had earned.
Yeah.
Not like something that I lucked into or that I was, handed. It felt like something that I had earned. And I sometimes look at writers who come out with their first book and it's an enormous runaway bestseller and then they can never live up to that hype and they are forever
chasing it,
mentioned as, the author of The Help or the author of Eat, Pray, Love, and they never sort of get to that place again. And it feels better for me to have felt like I've already done it. And one of the reasons why I retired the Nantucket books last year was because I thought to myself, I have nothing left to prove here. Nantucket is done. Before I start to go down like this, I'm gonna retire.
What was it like when you saw the cover with your name and Shelby's name on it when it actually came to you?
Yeah.
What was that
It was
feeling?
very exciting. It's so exciting for me to watch her sort of, and we were joking today because the Miami newspaper just printed an article about our event. We did an event there on the 16th or 17th it came out on the 18th of September. So a month ago. And Shelby just saw the article. Someone sent it to her. And I said, how many people at Miami know that you debuted at number 2 in the New York Times bestseller list? She goes, nobody. She doesn't talk about it. So nobody at Miami knows that about her. And I just love that because she's just a regular kid going there. And at the same time, I'm super excited because I think, as I said, I think she's got a huge
gift.
gift.
Yeah. Well, we'll end on that. This is wonderful,
Yeah,
Ellen.
thank you guys for coming.
Yeah. You're a gift to all of us, truly. All right. We've got a few gifts for you guys.
Yay.
Compliments of Joss and Main. We have a $250 gift card to Joss and Main that I'm going to hopefully have Ellen
I'm going to pick it.
She's going to pick it and announce the name.
Who wants to win this?
Let's go shopping, right? And again, thanks to Joss and Main for having us here, hosting us here,
Okay.
being such a great partner.
I feel like I signed a book for this person. I did sign a book for this person, Carrie Ryan.
Good job,
Did I sign a book
Carrie.
for you? Yeah.
All right. Okay, now we have a $100 gift card to the establishment from iHeartMedia.
Okay.
In Kiss 108.
What happens at the establishment?
It's a restaurant, right?
Oh.
Yeah, and it's close to the office. It's in Medford? And in Chelmsford, yeah. So you can go out to eat on us.
Okay. I feel like I also signed a book for this person, Donna Benoit. Yes, I remember. Remember, Donna, you brought me your book at the beginning, and you won the $100 gift certificate.
All right, and then
Okay,
we
here,
have
you take
another $100 gift certificate to Margaritas. Which
Am
is
I pulling it
nice.
out of this
Yep,
box?
pull it
Okay,
out
I'm
of that
pulling out
box.
this box. Hold on.
Yep.
All right, this piece of paper is folded. I'm going to open it. I cannot read this writing.
I
It's
know.
somebody, and the last name is, I don't even know.
I know, I can't tell either. Let me see. Something Clace or Chalk? or
Chase,
Chase?
Doffy, Rainey, Danny.
See?
What's the name?
Danny Chase? Chase, Danny 97843. That, yeah.
Is that
okay.
yours?
Okay.
Yay!
All right, you won. You're going to Margaritas.
You need
Okay.
to work on your penmanship.
Big time. And again, I want to mention, Jocelyn is offering 15% off through 30 days. So come back and shop if you saw something you liked. Again, thanks to Ellen.
Very
so much.
welcome.
So much.
And they have signed books over at the table.
Great.
Plenty of signed books left. Oh,
One more. Okay, Raising a Reader. You know that we always raise money for Raising a Reader Massachusetts. This is Christine Ward, the director.
Thank you so much. So, we're so glad to be here and be a part of the book club again tonight. So the prize tonight is 2 tickets to Maroon 5, right?
wow.
And Raising a Reader, as you all
Wow.
know, is an early literacy family engagement program, and we cannot do this work without the generosity supporters like you and Lisa Dunneman's book club.
Okay,
So
and
thank
I'm
you
reading
so
the.
much.
What am I doing, Christine? Just reading the number?
Read the number, yep. For
Okay,
2
everybody
tickets to
has their thing?
Maroon 5.
2 tickets to Maroon 5. This is so exciting. 235-3972.
Woohoo! Mary Beth, she's
You're
an OG.
good.
She was at my first book club.
Mary Beth is going to see Adam
Woo!
Levine, baby. All right, here,
Oh,
you
this
give
is
it to
exciting.
Christine.
All right, give these to Alan. Adam,
This is
that
so
was
exciting.
amazing. All right, some great conversation. The Academy is amazing. So thanks again to Ellen, Jocelyn, and we'll see you at the next book club, November
Bye.
6th.